all you have to do is to understand the simple concepts of EC. And more importantly, I think what I want to emphasize today is what is the storyline for ECs. ECs have always sold well. People who are selling ECs know that it's an easy pitch to sell. So today I want to share a bit with you on what's the EC storyline. We'll share with you about the upcoming EC, which is Parc Central Residences. A basic introduction. We are not doing a mass briefing today. After that, we will touch on the more nitty-gritty, the condition of sales and ownership, the documents that you have to collect, and of course, how to fill in the e-application itself. Okay, so why executive condominiums? Okay, so the executive condominium scheme was launched by HDB in 1995. Okay, the aim is to provide private housing at affordable prices. Buyers of ECs are also entitled to the CPF housing grant. Okay, but do note this is only the normal CPF housing grant. The other grants like additional housing grant, etc., they are not applicable for EC. So EC, there's only the standard CPF housing grant. Okay, so the attraction of ECs is that they are designed, constructed, and sold by private developers. So they come with a full suite of condominium facilities. They are physically indistinguishable from private condos in design and physical outlook. So if you were to look at the EC today that's completed, you will not be able to know that it's an EC. Neither will there be anything in the development itself to tell you that EC. You won't have a 100 Palm Residences EC, for example. You want a Parc Canberra Residences EC. You won't have that. So it's indistinguishable. The only thing is that there's an MOP period of 5 years, okay, and it's only privatized after 10 years. So after 5 years, you can sell to SC and SPR. After 10 years, you can sell in the open market even to foreigners. Okay, so our Minister of National Development at that time, okay, he quoted that ECs are a wonderful scheme. Okay, you can buy, it allows Singaporeans, middle-income Singaporeans to buy condominium at very affordable price. Okay, it's like offering you a Lexus at the price of a Corolla, and only Singaporeans will have this advantage, okay? And in due course, this Corolla will go to the price of a Lexus. So to put it in a show flat analogy, imagine you walk into any show flat today, all you have to do is to flash your pink IC, and then the developer say, wow, Singaporean, I give you a 30% discount. Okay, so in short, that is the essence of an EC. Okay, imagine walking into any show flat, just because you have a pink IC, the developer will give you a 30% discount. Of course, that doesn't happen. Okay, so this is the attraction of ECs. Okay, you can get something at a 20 to 30% lower price just because you are Singaporean and you qualify for ECs. Okay, so it's an opportunity to enjoy private condominium lifestyle at more affordable prices, as I said. Okay, they hold a pricing edge over condo. Despite being essentially the same product, they are sold at a discount of about 20 to 30%. Okay, they come with full suite of facilities, physically indistinguishable from private condos. In fact, later I'll touch on many of the ECs may even be better than condo because they are catered for owner occupation. Okay, so you don't have things like one bedroom. Most of the time, you don't have things like two bedrooms. So usually there's a lesser number of units. Okay, the development facilities are more catered for own stay. Basically, the seller have to cater to the buyer. So when the seller know that all the buyers here are coming for own stay, there's usually a bigger emphasis on facilities and for lifestyle. Okay, so you'll see that, in many of the modern ECs, okay, the ECs that's launched over the years, some of them are even better than private condo in terms of, lifestyle and living. Okay, because there's really, really very little people who are purely investors. Of course, some people buy and they know that the price will appreciate in the future, but minimally you have to stay for 5 years. So that is generally what's the seller's emphasis. Okay, they want to create a product that people will want to live in. Okay, so it's a home with a proven track record of becoming a strong asset. So we mentioned just now, you are buying a Lexus at Corolla price, and in the future you can sell the Corolla at Lexus price. So there are many articles, so I just quote one. So the return of investment on EC is usually better, okay, because you buy at 20 to 25% lower, and studies have shown that when time comes, you can sell the EC at a price almost similar to a comparable condo. So you buy about 20 to 25% lower, and you sell at the same price. Okay, all these things I will touch on a bit more in depth later. I'll show you some numbers. Okay, but this is just an introduction as to why ECs.
Gopeng, you're on mute. You're on mute. You're muted.
You mean can't hear me? I've been talking for so long.
Yeah, you're muted. I can hear you there, but I don't know why you show muted. Some of them cannot hear you. Some, yeah.
Just to double check. So cannot hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, so you all have been missing me all the way. I've been talking to myself for the last 10 minutes.
I can hear you, but I don't know why you show on mute.
Okay, can.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, I'm sure on mute because I'm flashing from my computer, but I'm connected with my iPhone for talking.
Okay.
So my earpiece is on my iPhone because the iPhone is very dumb in a way that the earpiece cannot connect to computer. Okay, so I'm on my earphone. Okay, thanks for everybody for confirming. Okay, so I continue. Okay, so we summarize. So actually, we always summarize EC to 3 main pointers. Okay, affordability, value, and appreciation. Okay, affordability is that you can buy at a lower price, and there's also a CPF housing grant for first timers. There's value because although you buy a lower price, the ECs come with a full suite of condo facilities that are indistinguishable from private condos. Okay, they are also typically built with end user in mind. Okay, so more emphasis on facilities, no investment units, etc. Okay, and finally, appreciation. Okay, because you buy at a lower price, and evidence has shown that you can sell for almost the same price as private condo. So the EC buyer is on an immediate price advantage. Okay, because you have a built-in buffer that will become profit in the future. Okay, so all this I'll show you some numbers. Okay, so that is it for a summary. But what's the EC storyline? How come every EC that we launch usually sell very well? Typically when you launch an EC, minimally you close two eyes, it's 200, 300 units and is there one. Okay, some even better. Okay, I'm sure everybody remember 100 pumps. Okay, we sold out in 7 hours. Every single unit was sold in the balloting itself. Okay, so what's the EC storyline that makes buyers come to ECs? Okay, so when you pitch the EC to your buyers, okay, or when you are talking about ECs to your buyers, what is it about ECs that you should tell them about, and why should they buy ECs? Okay, personally for myself, ever since I done the first EC about 11 years ago at Privé, from then onwards, I have never encouraged my friend to buy BTO already. As long as they have, they can afford it, I will say minimally try for EC, because ECs are really a guaranteed thing. Okay, it's something that first timer should definitely look to see whether they can afford, and a second timer is definitely something that is a solution to your want to upgrade to a private lifestyle. Of course, nowadays people are very affluent, they can afford private condos, but this is something that every single upgrader should consider. Whether you buy or not is a different story, but as long as you're eligible, ECs are something that you shouldn't ignore. You should really look into it and think for yourself, the pros and cons, and whether EC is a better choice for you now, especially now that there's no more reissue. Okay, this one I'll again touch on in a while. Okay, so first and foremost, ECs have the most affordable entry price. Okay, so we show you, on top of lower land prices, ECs, developers generally price EC more attractively. Okay, so we have a before and after. So before that, I pull out some of the mass market condos. So you have Tapestry, Treasure at Tampines, Parc Botania, etc. Land price 565. Okay, Tapestry land price 565. Eventual average transacted for this year is 1344. So the difference between land and selling PSF is 779. Okay, Treasure at Tampines, land price 676. Eventual average selling price for this year is 1345. Difference between land and selling PSF is 669. Okay, Parc Botania, land price 517. Average selling price for this year 1356. So the difference is 849, so on and so forth. Okay, then we move to the ECs. Okay, Parc Canberra, land price 558. Eventual average selling price for this year 1099. The difference is only 541. Okay, so you can tell that on top of the fact that EC price is lower, developer also price EC more attractively. Okay, because EC, end of the day, there's an income ceiling of 16,000, and the target market is always the first timers who probably are not as well off, or the upgraders. Okay, so the target market and the income ceiling makes it that the EC developers usually price the EC more attractively. So I move on to the future. So put it this way, okay, Park Central, the land price is 578. Okay, Tanah Merah recently tendered, the land price is 930. Okay, but if you read in the papers, what are the papers saying how much Tanah Merah will sell? Minimum about 1,600, right? If you read in the papers, all the analysts say, oh, Tanah Merah minimum sell 1,600. But you look at this way, the land price is only about $350 more than us. Okay, Park Central residences, I don't know the price, but for those who are familiar with ECs, it's there one. Okay, the average should be about 1,001 to 1,150. Okay, so how come the land price difference is only 350, but the selling price becomes difference expected is $600? Okay, because ECs developer usually price more attractively. So not only is the land cost lower, okay, developer price it more attractively. So this is the lowest and most affordable entry price in the market. Okay, and the other thing to take note is that when we quote all the numbers at the OCR condo recently, the numbers are not outliers. Okay, the transactions are very strong. Okay, affordable entry price. Okay, EC prices are therefore about 20 to 30% lower than private condo. So again, I pull out some numbers. Okay, if we look at the average transacted for ECs is between 1099 to 1134. For condo, OCR condo is about 1345 to 1526. Okay, so on average about 246 if I compare minimum to minimum, about 392 if I compare maximum to maximum, about 22 to 35% higher if you were to go into a private condo rather than EC today. Okay, so in essence, you have the opportunity to enjoy a private lifestyle and bigger units at the lower prices. Again, we look at the price. Okay, so now if I want to buy a 3-bedroom condo versus a 3-bedroom EC, okay, at the existing EC, Ola, Parc, Canberra, and Piermont Grand, you can all get for 900 over K. Whereas if you step into any OCR condo now, minimally you pay 1.2. Okay, sometimes even more. Okay, Treasure at Tampines, the 3-bedroom is quite small. The entry level 3-bedroom is quite small. That's why it's 1.2. But typically, you step into any OCR condo now, you want to buy a 3-bedroom. Minimally, you expect to pay about 1.3 reach. Okay, as you can see, the PSF is 1355 already. Okay, so if you have $1 million and you want to buy a 3-bedroom in the whole Singapore, you can only look for EC if you want to buy firsthand. So this is why we say EC again. Is the most affordable entry level prices. Okay, and because of this, let's look at some savings. Okay, so if we calculate based on the 300 PSF difference, if you buy a 1,000 square feet unit, you're actually saving 300,000. Okay, even on a 200 PSF difference, it's a 200,000 for a 1,000 square feet unit. So you can have cost savings and you can have a more comfortable purchase. Okay, which means you have a lesser capital outlay and mortgage payments. So of course, the MSR is always there, which means that you probably need a higher income to qualify for the same loan. But the fact is that, once you can qualify for the loan, you pay much less than a buyer who has bought the OCR condo. For example, 3-bedroom versus 3-bedroom, as we have shown, you pay about $800 a month less. Okay, for a parent, that $800 a month is probably the preschool fees for one of the kids. Okay, nowadays preschool is very expensive. That savings can translate into spending for something else. Okay, so the second most important thing that we like about EC is that, there's a built-in buffer. Just now I mentioned that, you can buy ECs for a bit of a lower price. So this lower price, if you think about it, is actually a built-in buffer. Okay, from the day you buy, you have a... okay, where did I leave off? Okay, so just now we were mentioning, so when you buy at 20 to 30% lower, so the built-in buffer means two things. Okay, in the event that something not so good happen, okay, the market must fall by about 20% before you're affected. Okay, so this is the first part, the negative. Okay, the positive is if the market go up, okay, you will not only earn whatever the market go up, you will earn the 20 to 30% that you already have earned when you buy. Okay, does that make sense? So in a way, next time you only need to sell at whatever the private condo buyers have bought at, you already make 20 to 30%. But the private condo buyers, they probably need to venture a bit higher before they can start to make profit. Okay, so in a way, you are guaranteed a profit if the market goes as per normal, increase whether by a lot or a bit. As long as the market is on upward trend, you are guaranteed a 20 to 30% profit. In the event if the market go down, okay, you are still protected. Your profit line is still protected, which I will show you later. Okay, so again, sorry, I'll just skip this. Okay, so again, all along, people have been saying that, if you come to buy EC, there's profit. But this is a very old article. We look at some new numbers. Okay, so first example we're going to see is Esperina. Esperina is the first EC in this cycle. Okay, before Esperina, there was a period of time where there were no ECs. So when this Esperina came out, everybody say, EC now becomes 720 PSF. Esperina launched an average of 720. Okay, so why I put this article is to show you that, last time when we were selling Esperina, we have the same difficulties as we have today. Okay, today buyers will tell you, even EC also become 1,001. When we were selling Esperina, okay, the last batch of ECs launched at about $300 to $400. People are saying, how come EC suddenly becomes $700? But the people who still believe in the EC storyline, or the buyers who so-called still went ahead and buy the ECs, I think most of them are enjoying very, very good profits today. Okay, if you notice, I pull out the transactions. I don't even have to go and sort by profit margin. I just pull out and naturally sort by date. Okay, a lot of times when you see some of the data, it's a bit cherry picking. So they have to go and pick the highest profit and then they show you, hey, so much profit. This one, all I have to do is to pull out the numbers. It's sorted by date. Okay, the profit margin you can see 400,000, 300,000, 400,000, 400,000, 400,000, etc. The annualized gain is about 4.3%. Okay, this is about over a period of 10 years. Okay, 3,600 days is not 10 years. So overall, you make about 40%. Okay, this is despite between 2013 and 2017, we all know that the market went down. So despite the fact that the market went down in the 4 years, okay, annualized, okay, buyers of Esperina make about 40%. Okay, every year they make about 4%. Over 10 years, they make about 40%, some close to 50%. Okay, if you have your property data analytic tools, you can go and check also. It's very hard to find a non-profitable transaction for EC. So if you go to any of the ECs and then you go and search, okay, usually you'll see profitable transactions, total so many. If you scroll down a bit, you'll see unprofitable transactions, 0. Okay, if you happen to see 1 or 2, that's 1. These are because of developer sales. So the unit drop out, the developers sell back at the same price or they sell back slightly lower to a friend or whatsoever. Then these are where you will see the 1 or 2. Okay, but you see the period of time is very close. Anything that you how to tell is you can see the bought on date and the sold on date. As long as it include a MOP period, then it should definitely be a profitable transaction. Okay, I have never seen the EC lose money so far. Okay, another example. Okay, this one closer to where we will be. So this is trillion, Tampines trillion. So mostly gain about 3% annually on average. Okay, despite again the cooling measures of 2013 to 2017. So you can see 200 over 1,000, 300 over 1,000. Okay, undervalued at launch therefore means there's good profits in the future. Okay, we pull out all the Tampines ECs that were launched about 8-9 years ago. So the first is up at Tampines. Okay, when we launched, the average per square foot was about 736. The latest transactions average is about 941, so about 28%. Okay, trillion 738. Latest about 1043, so it's about 41%. City Life average about 796. Latest is about 1026, so it's about 28%. So you can see that ECs is consistently profit making. Okay, so we look again at trillion. So this one again, so I do the pull up from the highest profit. Okay, so EC owners at trillion have actually earned about 400 to 500K profit on the purchase. Okay, of course, this is dependent on the size of the unit they bought. But actually, if you look at this fella here, his unit is only 1302 square feet. He didn't buy the extremely big unit, but he still made 400 over 1,000. So in a way, ECs is a good way to either build your retirement nest egg or to earn your first pot of gold from property. Okay, so this is why I mentioned to a lot of my friends that sometimes if you can afford to buy an EC, first of all, you enjoy a better lifestyle over the MOP period. Secondly, ECs generally make better profit than HDB. Of course, if you manage to get a BTO at Pinnacle, all this, then good for you lah. But not everybody will be able to have a so-called money churner BTO. Okay, if you are looking at Tampines, if between the choice of a BTO and an EC, I would strongly recommend EC if your finances allow for it. This one, again, I will show you why later. Okay, so before we go further, let's take the perspective of an average earner. Okay, so just keep this case study in mind. Okay, we are going to refer to this case study later, but we just pull out one of the recent transactions. Okay, 13 November 2020, sold on 13 November 2020. So he bought in 2012 at 874,000. Okay, let's say he's a first timer, he took a grant. So the overall cost is 844. Okay, he sold in 2020 at 1.19 million. So the profit is about 356,000, about 42%. Okay, if you think about it, if this fella only paid the 20%, his actual ROE is about 245%. Okay, think about it. If that time he only paid the 20%, the rest is loan, and the 20% he can still deduct the 30,000, the CPF housing grant, his ROE is over 245% in the period of time that he has stayed in the EC. Okay, so we keep this example in mind. Okay, the other common question that my friends usually ask me is, how do ECs compare with private properties? Okay, we have this example. Again, I like to pull Esperina because Esperina is where we probably experience the most resistance for EC. Okay, moving on, when we move to other things, I think the resistance got lesser because Esperina is the first one that broke the barrier. I remember before we sell Esperina, the ECs were going at $300 to $400. So suddenly when we started to launch Esperina at $700, I remember hearing buyers say, "Are you serious? Not the last time EC only $300-400. How come now I must pay $700 for EC?" Okay, so this is something that I remember quite clearly. We can encounter buyers that say this. Okay, so we look at Esperina versus Quartz. Okay, so there's really no visible disadvantage from being an EC in terms of price appreciation. So Esperina residences gain nearly about 48% from launch plan to MOP. Okay, you overtake the price of a nearby condo, a resale condo, that increased by just 13%. So at the point of time when the buyer walk into Esperina residences, you have the option to buy Esperina, and then you also have the option to buy a Quartz resale. So at that period of time, if you buy Esperina, you probably pay about $761 on median, okay, or $743 on average. If you were to buy Quartz, you pay a bit more, about $120 more. Full-fledged condo, immediate occupation, no need to wait, etc., etc. You know, all the things that people say is good about resale. Hey, you pay $863. Okay, so the difference was about 15%, correct? 15%, about $120. Okay, we fast forward another 10 years. Okay, so what happened if you have bought Esperina versus what happened versus you have bought Quartz? Okay, in 2019, I believe, sorry, this is 2019 data. Okay, the average transacted for Esperina is 1,100. Okay, you earn about $357 per square feet, about 48% profit. Okay, if you have bought Quartz at a period of time, we pull out the transaction. Okay, average is $982. You still make money. You make about $119 per square foot. You earn about 13%. Okay, so there will always be people that tell you, hey, resale condo is just about the same price as EC. So why should I go for the EC instead of the resale condo? So this is one of the reasons. I think this is one of the reasons. Resale condo, correct, you may be close or you may be just slightly more expensive than the EC. But in the longer term, the EC will build you a much better nest egg than if you were to buy a resale condo. Okay, so if you take this example, you know, Esperina residences is now more expensive than Quartz. Can you believe it? Okay, 12% higher than Quartz. Okay, over the last about 10 years, 48% gain versus a 19% gain, 13% gain. Okay, so this is true numbers. Two condos side by side. In fact, some people may say Quartz is better because Quartz is where all the amenities is. Okay, whereas Esperina is on the other side of the road. Okay, and because of the built-in buffer, you know, sometimes you don't even need to wait until MOP. You know, sometimes even developer sales itself, EC, as you know, there's some eligible criteria. So for example, you know, if a couple, fiance, they decide to break up and they cannot proceed further, the unit will be released back for sale. Okay, so sometimes you don't even have to wait so long to see your paper gain. Okay, in the recent years, we have seen that, you know, even before TOP, don't even say MOP, even before TOP, if there's a unit that drop out, the price already increased substantially. So Treasure Crest, for example, okay, this is a EC in Sengkang. Okay, so at first launch, the price for 0914 was 822,000 at normal payment scheme. Okay, 822,000, 763 PSF. Okay, somewhere along the line, I think if I remember, it's 2018. Okay, some units drop out. Okay, I remember we went to OT office to do a ballot. Okay, 0914, the same unit, okay, was re-released by the developer at 1.184 million. Okay, it's a 44% increase. Okay, so imagine you are the buyer of 0814. Okay, you haven't even TOP, haven't even take your keys. You already sit on the 44% paper gain because the joker above you bought at 1.184 million. Okay, you bought at 818, if I see correctly, you bought at 818,000. Okay, your upstairs neighbor bought at $1.184 million. Okay, if you know the owner of 0814, you should ask him to buy a cake for the owner of 0914. Okay, because of him, he single-handedly already give you a 44% paper gain already. Okay, and these are not individual units. Okay, we show another example. This is 100 Palm. 100 Palm is the EC that sold out in 7 hours. So I think last year we have dropout units. Okay, so again, I show you the same example. Okay, so at launch 100 Palm 0104, the price was 905,000, 800 PSF. Okay, well, again, people at the time say very high. Okay, last year we have the dropout unit, the same unit, 0104, came at 1.22 million. Okay, 800 PSF to 1082 PSF. It's a 35% increase, $282. Okay, and not just this one unit, there are many units that were released that day. We have more than 100 buyers who went to ballot for these units, knowing that they are paying about 35%, 40% more than the buyers who bought on first day. Can you imagine? So if you are the lucky owner of 100 Palm residences on the first day, 100 Palm just TOP, but you haven't moved in, you already make a 35% paper gain. So how did all this paper gain happen? Okay, first and foremost, it's because you have a built-in buffer, correct? You have a built-in buffer, but the market also moves. Okay, so as the market moves, the built-in buffer get bigger and bigger. So although these people pay 35% more than you, they still enjoy a built-in buffer. Okay, so we continue the example of 100 pump. So originally you buy $800 per square foot. At that time, your built-in buffer is still about 30%. Okay, but the market also moves. So your built-in buffer move with it. So when the buyer who bought at 1082 PSF at 1.22 mil, okay, despite a 35% increase from the original price, you still got 500 PSF lower buffer from the private condo near you, like Florence and Affinity. Okay, Florence average is transacting at 1526. Affinity is transacting at 1511. Okay, these are all very, very close to each other. So even if I come into 100 pound at 1082, it's still a bargain, no? Because I'm still buying at $500 per square foot lower than if I were to buy a condo in a similar area. And these are really, really very close to each other. So can you imagine? So because the market moved, okay, your built-in buffer extended. So instead of that 30%, now you have 60%. Okay, so you think about it. Okay, if you happen to go into an EC at the time where the market is moving normally or moving well, your built-in buffer extends. Okay, in the event that the market really didn't do well, like we see from Esperina and Trillion just now, there's 4 years of market drop. No, you still can hold very well and you still can experience about 30 to 40% growth. Okay, so this is a proven track record of growth in ECs. Okay, you have a strong built-in buffer that will lead to low risk and a very strong track record of growth. Okay, so imagine, I think 100 pump, the buyers sat through 7-hour ballot, and every EC will have buyers. Okay, nowadays maybe we won't have a ballot, but every EC will have buyers that very howlian. Hey, I don't want to sit through ballot after that, kind of look for me. So can you imagine if you were one of those who sit through the 7-hour ballot at 100 pump, okay, you can sell your 1,000 square feet condo at current price. Okay, your hourly pay is 100,000 an hour. I mean, think about it. Okay, so this is how attractive EC is. Okay, so we move on to the third point. So because of the first 2 points that we mentioned, okay, the lowest, most affordable entry price and the built-in buffer, okay, it's a very ideal place to start on a property ladder. If you're a first timer, these 2 aspects will probably appeal a lot to you. Okay, so if you're a first time owner, you probably have 3 options, BTO, resale HDB, or you private. Okay, so you think about 2 things. Okay, what is the essential characteristics that a homeowner will want from their first home? Okay, so is it better to own a home with strong potential for appreciation that can serve as a stepping stone towards your dream home? Okay, ECs is a fact of life. Okay, you are not going to have an EC in Orchard. You are not going to have an EC in some very, very happening place. Okay, ECs generally tend to be OCR, generally. Okay, so it may not be the dream place for many people to stay. Okay, but I think you can think of it as a stepping stone. Okay, with whatever profit that you have made from your EC, it's a stepping stone towards your dream home. You may not be able to straight away jump from nothing to having a CCR home or OCR home, but at least you make some profit with your first home, and then from there you explore your options again. Okay, so if I'm a first-time home owner, I think the very important characteristics I must have is that the home must have appreciation potential. Okay, it must help me build my first pot of gold. Okay, because eventually I may want to go to something bigger. I don't want my house, the house I'm staying in, to be a depreciating asset or to be underperforming property compared to others. Okay, best is overperforming. Okay, so we have shown that ECs are usually overperforming. Secondly is it's a place to call home. It's still a condo lifestyle versus BTO. I mean, some people appreciate it. Some people, of course, they say they don't mind. But end of the day, it's still a more comfortable place to stay. You have swimming pool for your kids, etc. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, ECs are optimized for end user experience and for owner occupation. Okay, so if you buy a private condo and you buy an EC, some of the things you see in EC you don't see in private condo. Okay, so for example, if you look into any EC today, you'll see very common, you have point blocks. Okay, every block only got 4 stacks. If you walk into any condo nowadays, one block maybe got 8 stack, 10 stack. Okay, so this is the first beauty about ECs, because they are optimized for end user experience. Okay, you have all these 4 units to a block system. Okay, a bit of technicality. Why is 4 unit a block? It's very simple. Okay, when you have more than 4 unit a block, it's hard to do naturally ventilated kitchen. Okay, because the kitchen wall got nowhere to put window. So when there's nowhere to put window, you cannot have naturally ventilated kitchen. Means you must have induction stove. Okay, so this is also practicality, because EC developers also know most are owner occupiers, so they tend to try to give you a proper conventional kitchen. So to cater to that, most blocks have to be point block. Okay, so you walk to any EC today, most of the time you see 4 units a block. Okay, the other thing is you probably see a lower development density. There's no investment units. You cannot find a 1 bedroom in ECs except so acres. That one is a different story. Okay, generally it's hard to find even 2 bedrooms. Okay, there's added emphasis on facilities and layouts. Okay, and there's a developer will therefore have the flexibility to consider and build bigger unit types. Okay, and the best thing is, if you're a first timer, you still don't lose the ability to enjoy your grant. Okay, if you're a first timer, you can still take your CPF housing grant of up to 30,000. Okay, so we come back to the earlier buyer. Remember just now our case study, this buyer who bought $1 trillion and he sold on 13 November. Remember his profit is 356,000 at 42%. Okay, so he bought it in 2012. So we mentioned he got 3 options. He can buy a condo, he can buy a resale, he can buy a BTO, he can buy an EC. So let's look at, at that point of time, what if he have bought something else? Okay, so first things first, if you have bought a BTO, also in Tampines. So in 2012, just right, we have a BTO launch in Tampines. Okay, 4 rooms start from 305K, 5 rooms start from 384K. Okay, this one, you can go and find the statistics online, if you don't believe me. Okay, but believe me, it's there. I went to search. Okay, so 305K, 384K, very cheap, really, really a lot lower than EC. He paid a lot less, very comfortable. 不用供到这样辛苦, then maybe he can pay off, then don't need to pay loan, etc. Then after MOP, he sell, then make a bit of money. That's the typical Singaporean dream, right? Okay, so assuming if he bought Green Lace and he can sell today, so Green Lace is here. Okay, I pluck out the resale transaction from this circle, okay, just next to Green Lace. Okay, and the flats are also very new. Okay, 94 years remaining. So these are very new flats. I take apple to apple. I never take a 60-year-old and tell you, hey, you don't make money. So how much can you sell today? Okay, we look at a 4-bedroom, 376 to 510. Usually I take the bottom one because the 510 I assume is highly renovated. Okay, 376, 305, now sell 376. The 5-room flat 384, now you sell 475. So based on today's prices of a very, very close comparable, okay, 94 years, almost immediately after MOP, almost just next to Green Lace, you earn about 90K before reno. Okay, those who know friends who buy BTO, very few people pay less than 90K in reno. All the friends I know average about 100K reno. So maybe you make paper loss if you factor in the reno for a lot of buyers. Okay, so this is if that at the point of time the buyer think about it and say, hey, 384K, I go and gong the HDB, not so 辛苦, instead of buying the EC. Remember, he got 2 options. So the first option, if he had bought trillion, he has made a 356K profit. Okay, if you have bought a BTO 5-room flat, it's 90K. Okay, of course, I'm not saying that everybody can afford an EC. I'm just saying that it's something you should explore your affordability range. It's something that you see whether you're comfortable with. Okay, so if at that point of time that buyer have chosen a BTO, is 300K less. Okay, so the other thing about BTO is BTO prices are also being kept very steady in the last few years. This one of my sales director from Ola, he shared before, and I think it makes a lot of sense. What thing in Singapore or what thing in the world does second-hand cost more than first-hand? There's really very few things in the world that second-hand cost more than first-hand. Okay, maybe art. Other than that, I really can't think of many things except HDB flat. Okay, HDB flat is one of the few things in the world that for some reason second-hand costs more than first-hand. Okay, so we have seen it in the trend. Okay, we are not going to a full consumer seminar. I'm sure you heard a lot over the last few months of how HDB is not the best asset to hold, etc., etc. Of course, we see recently the HDB index is climbing slightly, but end of the day, the question remains: how can something second-hand consistently outperform something that's first-hand in terms of pricing? Okay, and this is in addition to the fact that the government has over the years have been trying to keep resale flats price under control. And one of the ways that they do it is they try to keep BTO price steady. Okay, so we look at just now Green Lace in 2012 is 305K. Hey, 7 years later, Green Glen, and this is next to our Tampines Hub and near the MRT station, much better location. If you ask me, this one hands down is 10 times better than here. Okay, here you walk to Tampines Hub, you walk across is Tampines Interchange. The difference is only 40,000. I think even if they sell in the same year, based on the location difference, it's already 40,000 already. Don't you agree? Even if they sell in the same year, based on these two locations, it should be about 10% difference already. That this is so much better. But 10 years later, despite the location being so much better, the price is only different by 40,000 for 4-room flat, and about 90,000 for 5-room flat. So you can see at base, the BTO price is not moving. So if you are upgrader, for example, okay, and you are sitting on your flat past MOP, okay, so you own Green Glen, for example, and it's past MOP. In 5 years' time, when someone that's newer than you, MOP, he will command a better price for sure because he got a longer lease. But you must remember that he bought at a very similar price. So in essence, that will push your price down already, which is why I think it leads to the fact that we see today that, a lot of people want to exit once MOP. And if they don't exit every day, the flat is not appreciating as well as they hope it will be. Okay, to put another example into context, okay, my parents own a HDB flat. So every day that they don't sell is one less dollar that they will pass to me in the future, touch wood, when I inherit it. Correct or not? You agree? So if they don't sell it, okay, every year that go by is lesser money that they are leaving behind for their children. If I'm a HDB owner today, it's the same. If my daughter is 2 years old, but if I own my HDB, every year that I hold on to it, when eventually I die and I pass the HDB to them, it's less money that I'm leaving behind for them. Okay, so in essence, this is the nutshell on why people start to think that HDB is not the best asset to hold. It may not be the best thing to enter. And even if you enter, correct, at MOP, you may have a bit of profit margin, but there's always time pressure for you to sell it. So you cannot enjoy the house and hope that the house grow your wealth at the same time. Okay, whereas if you buy a private or EC, you can enjoy your house at the same time. Not confirmed but you have better hopes that the house will retain value better. Okay, so in essence, this is what we're experiencing in the market today but we're not doing a consumer seminar, so I just touch and go. Okay, so we move on to the next one. BTO settled already. What if now the buyer of Trillion, he decided to buy a resale flat? He happened to buy Tampines. Okay, so the median price of a 5-room flat in Tampines in first quarter of 2012 when Trillion was launched was 523K. Okay, if you go to the HDB website and you see the median price for a 5-room flat today is 522K. Okay, so you lose $1,000. Okay, median versus median, I mean on average. Okay, if he had bought nearby in Bedok, maybe he break even. Okay, if he decide to go Pasir Ris, he lose about 2.4%, $12,000. Okay, this is 3Q. This is the latest statistics already. This is including the last few months. I know everybody say, well, HDB market very good. It's going up, going up. Yes, it's going up. Okay, but if you have bought in 2012, you are still not in a good place despite the recent slight movement upwards. Okay, you bought in 2012, you buy here. So here you cannot sell MOP. Then after that, it's all the way down already. Okay, so this is what the buyer have in 2012. He was looking at the market where HDB was growing fast. Well, maybe I buy the resale flat, I still can make money. Okay, if I bought in Punggol, okay, make about 7%, but I suspect the median in Punggol is pushed up by all that whole stretch of flats just across Waterway Point that just MOP this year. Okay, I think a lot of flats there are transacting at very good prices. So I think in essence, it pushed up the whole median price of Punggol town as a whole. But anyway, even if discounting that, the profit is only 7%. Okay, buy in Sengkang, lose about 7.3%. He buy in Jurong East, 2012 got the Jurong Grove story, correct? 2012 is the Jurong Lake District, all the story come out. You buy at 528K, today the median is 448K, you lose 15%. Okay, so this is a very true story. So again, the second option, if you have bought a resale flat, maybe he's not doing as well as he is today versus if you have bought an EC. Okay, the last thing is if you have chosen a private condo. Okay, private condo is very selective. Okay, we also know that there's a lot of private condo out there, but just right, I think last year or a couple of years ago, there's this article that came out, the top 10 most profitable condos in Singapore. So they all bought in about 2014, 15, exit in about 18. Okay, so I don't really have the whole island-wide statistics, so I rely on this article. So the last 5 years, the top earning condo make about 431K. Number 10 make about 302K. Between 21.9% to 32.7%. Okay, so overall top 10 units, 302K to 431K. Okay, let's look at EC. Okay, I pull out apple to apple, the top gainer for EC. Esperina Residences, unit number 0106. He bought at 638, he sell at 994, profit 651,000, 56%. Privé 1706. 1399 square feet, he bought at 657 PSF, he exit at 1043, he make 540,000. Topiary, he 0813, he bought at 710, he exit at 1026, he make 431,000. Trillion 1539, this is a big unit 2121 square feet. He bought at 575, exit at 825, he make 531,000. Okay, Treasure Crest 100 pump, these are dropout units, not even MOP yet. Okay, just TOP for 100 pump. 1206. Okay, the first buyer bought at 726, but for some reason couldn't exercise or drop out the unit. It was resold at 1110, 412,000, 53%. So all the buyers of stack 6, even before moving in, they're already sitting on 53% paper gain compared to their neighbor. Okay, 100 pump, 1403. Okay, bought at 837. For some reason couldn't exercise again. Resold during the last wave of units, the Developer release, 1097 PSF, 343K. 31%, okay, just TOP only. Okay, the buyer maybe haven't even unpacked, already sitting on 31% paper gain. Okay, so EC that have MOP have earned up to 650K, and dropout units have already earned up to 400K. So you compare versus the top 10 overall condo, 302K to 431K. So in essence, this is so-called the power of the built-in buffer. Okay, so it's a really very value proposition. If you're a first timer, okay, this is a way to earn your first pot of gold from property. Okay, lower risk, more guaranteed. Of course, some private, definitely you may be able to earn more. Okay, but the risk is lower for EC. And it's easier, as in you close 2i, you go and buy an EC, most likely you can earn a pot of gold. But if you buy a condo, not all condos will turn out to be so profitable. Some may be more profitable at EC, some may be less, some may not even profit much, okay? But EC is so-called a guaranteed way to earn your first pot of gold because of the built-in buffer. Or, you know, if you're an upgrader, or, you know, you're someone who already have a HDB flat, you know, this is a way to build a nest egg for retirement. With that 400K, pure profit, plus what you have paid earlier, so if you have the $1 million, in OH, if you want, after that, you really want to buy a resale flat, for 400K, you pay off fully, and then after that, you still got 600K of retirement funds, no? Or if you want to leave something that, you know, may have a bit more value for your children, you sell already, there's some money to leave behind for your children when you pass on, okay? So it is also an ideal way to build your nest egg for retirement and for legacy planning. Okay, so it's a value proposition for both first and second timers. Okay, which we are going to touch on now is the second timers. So EC is very popular to second timers because it's an immediate solution. So why is it an immediate solution? So first and most importantly, you do not have to pay ABSD if you currently own a HDB flat. I repeat, you do not have to pay ABSD if you currently own a HDB flat. So a HDB owner that walk into an EC and buy today, you don't need to pay ABSD. You also don't need to pay first and apply for revision. This alone makes EC very attractive to second timers, especially nowadays. You cannot do this. Okay, you cannot reissue lah. Okay, so EC is the natural answer to the latest measures. Okay, you don't need to ask for reissue because you can buy without paying ABSD. Okay, the second thing is, even if you have an existing loan, okay, you still can borrow up to 75% if your income permits. Okay, so generally there's less cash component required, because if you are an existing HDB owner and you are okay to pay ABSD, but you have existing loan, even if you are okay, you go and buy a private condo, your loan, your LTV limit is very low. You have to pay 55% cash. Okay, not many people have 550,000 in the bank to pay off for a $1 million unit, even if you are willing to pay ABSD. Okay, EC eliminate these two biggest obstacle to upgrading for upgraders. Okay, normally if I'm upgraded, the two biggest obstacle to me will be ABSD and this LTV limit. EC one off, I remove these two for you. Okay, there's no ABSD, there's no LTV restriction. Okay, and you only need to sell your flat at TOP. So this is a ready-made solution for HDB owners who are looking to upgrade nowadays. Okay, and another thing is ECs are the only new launch type that offer deferred payment. So all you do is you pay 5 plus 15%, and your next payment is at TOP. So this is very good in the sense that this open up options for deferred bridging loan, something that is only available for EC. This also open up options for buyers who, you know, nowadays a lot of parents support. The parents support you for the first 20%. You've got that 2 to 3 years to grow your income before you need to start to pay mortgage payments. You also good for people who, you know the income will shoot up, like accountants. You start very low, but your income will shoot very fast. Okay, it's also good for people who have this kind of job nature. Okay, in the years that they expect to be making less money, they don't need to pay anything. By the time they need to pay money, probably their career has taken off and it's very comfortable for them. Okay, you can also accumulate your CPF for the additional 5%. Okay, because it is you take deferred, you don't need to sign your LO first, correct? Okay, so this is something that is only available in ECs, okay, for uncompleted. Of course, if you go to a CSE project, they may have deferred payment also, but for uncompleted project, only ECs can give you deferred payment. Okay, so in essence, you can stay comfortably in your existing flat while waiting for TOP. You know, a lot of upgraders today will be forced to sell the flat and rent for that 3-4 years construction period, and then they move in. If you buy an EC now, just happily stay in your flat until TOP. All you have to do is to sell within 6 months of TOP. Okay, so 5 all in all, this is a rare opportunity. Some simple case studies. I think this one we'll touch on more in depth next week when the next few weeks when Rodney touch on calculation. Okay, but we just want to show that, you know, first timers on a $10,000 combined income, you can afford to buy a EC up to about 1.1 mil, no? Okay, assuming with some basic assumptions, and these assumptions we didn't stretch. Okay, this is the average buyer assumption. Okay, so a lot of people will also think, well, MSL, all this, I may not be able to afford EC, but we can show you that even a couple with 10,000 income, okay, they can stretch up to 1.1 million, okay, on a very, very conservative estimate. Okay, upgraders on $9,000 income, despite being older and not being able to take a 30-year loan with a existing HDB flat that they can use to make deferred bridging loan, a typical case will also be able to buy up to 1.1, 1.2. Okay, this one I think I will leave it to Rodney to go through in depth with you in future planning. Okay, but this is just an illustration. A lot of people may think that, hey, this lifetime I cannot afford, you know. But actually, ECs are, like we say, very affordable, and there are schemes to help upgraders to buy ECs. Okay, ECs also are facing limited supply. So for this year, you know, HDB announced 17,000 BTO flats, okay, versus about 1,700 EC units, including Parc Central. So if I minus away the 700 units at Parc Central, this year only have 1,000 EC units. So EC actually make up a very small percentage of homes expected to TOP over the next 4 years. So if you have EC, you're owning on to a very rare asset that we have already shown, you know, is a very valuable asset. It's not only valuable, it's rare. Okay, there's very limited upcoming ECs as well. So besides our Parc Central, you know, there is a Province at Canberra Link. There's the Fernvale Lane tender that was won early this year. And there's the Yishun Avenue 9 tender that was just won recently. Okay, and Parc Central Residence is the first EC in 8 years in the East. So definitely will be hot. Okay, if your buyer want to sit and wait, by the time they wait, maybe no more already. It could be another 100 pumps, 7 hours sold out. Okay, because you have to go back all the way until 2012 for the last EC in the East, which was in Pasir Ris. I think it is Sea Horizon, if I remember correctly. Okay, you have to go back all the way up to 2012, then you have an EC in the East. We are in 2021 next year. So it's 8 going to 9 years between the last EC in the East to Parc Central Residences. So can you imagine 8 years of pent-up demand? Okay, so you have to start reaching out now. Okay, the buyers, the interest is definitely out there. You have to also encourage your buyer to come in early and apply, because it could sell out in the first day. It might, we won't know for sure, but there's always the possibility. 100 pumps, we never thought it would sell out on the first day, but we sold out in 7 hours. Okay, next important thing, okay, the last tender at Yishun was won at a high price and competition is high. So it's very unlikely the upcoming EC land will be won cheaply. Okay, when there's interest for the land, so all the developers will see, wow, the Yishun side got 7 people bid and all bid quite aggressively. So I cannot go and throw in a low ball bid and then go the temple and pray that, wow, no one else bid, then I win the side. Okay, they will all know that if they really want to be realistic and they want to have a chance to win the side, they probably have to put in a bit more aggressive bid. If not, they're just putting in for fun. Like like this fella 268. He really probably just try luck only. He probably thought COVID, nobody will go and bid for EC land. So he put a bid in. Okay, but after this experience, I think most of the developers will look at this and they will know that if realistically I want to win the land, I need to put in a realistic bid. Okay, it's just like after 100 pumps, the next EC land available of Sumang, which is the Pyrmont Grand site. Every developer know that after 100 pumps, sell in 7 hours. Okay, if I want to win this site, I cannot play around. So that time the analysts were forecasting, you know, it's going to be 450, it's going to be 480. No, it was way higher. Okay, in fact, we have 4 bids above $500. Okay, before that, the highest bid for EC was about 380, if I remember correctly. Suddenly, it went to $500, okay, on the back of the performance at 100 pump. Okay, so developers will know when to be serious, okay, if they want to get a site. And this is a signal to future developers that, hey, if I want to win the next few EC site, I got to be serious, because there's a lot of people that's going for it, and the eventual price that's won is quite high. You imagine Yishun, no MRT, is being won at a higher price than Parc Canberra with MRT. Okay, so the EC land price is likely to be continuing to trend up. Okay, and this is $1 difference from Park Central only. So if you don't buy Park Central in 2 years' time, okay, because EC can only launch in 15 months, you will buy Yishun at the same price as Tampines. Okay, it doesn't make sense, right? I mean, you close two eyes, I think logically most people will say Tampines is a bit of a better location. So if you don't buy Park Central in 2 years' time, you buy Yishun at the same price as Tampines. Okay, most importantly, okay, there's only 2 more EC sites available at the moment, and I think they are a bit in underdeveloped locations. Okay, but based on the fact that we saw there's a really high price going for Yishun, it's unlikely to be won cheap. Okay, so first one is at Tengah Garden. I touched my heart. I'm sorry, I've never been to this place before, so I can't tell you much about it, except that if I look at the map, there's nothing there. Okay, but of course we know that the government is developing flats there. There's some high-tech flat with all the aircon thing I read recently. Okay, but it's still a relatively underdeveloped location. The other one is also in Tampines. This is a reserve site, but if you stay in Tampines, this part of Tampines is quite unexplored at the moment. Of course, again, there's BTO coming up here, but again, it's probably not as well developed part as Park Central. And this is unlikely to be won cheap also. It's a reserve site, so there must be a minimum cost to trigger it in the first place. Okay, and also even if this is triggered and this is won, you have to wait at least 15 months from the day of land award. So earliest launch, I think even for this one, if you're looking at the other Tampines plot, it should be even closer than 2023. Because trigger then tender then 15, tender then tender award then 15 months. It could be even from 2023 onwards. So Park Central will be your only option in the east for foreseeable future. Okay, so we touched on a bit on Park Central. Sorry, not yet. Let me see. We touched on a bit on Park Central. So we probably won't do too much here. I'm not doing a mass briefing. I just touch and go because I still have a whole dry part on the EC eligibility to go. So we touch and go. So located at Tampines Avenue 10, developer is Hoi Hub and Sunway. Okay, estimated TOP is second quarter. I'm doing it in a Hoi Hub flat now, show flat now. I'm at Key Residences. Developer want me to say. Okay, so there's a estimated TOP. I think this one we wait for the fact sheet, but this is based on the hoarding. Okay, number of units 700. Okay, estimated launch. Sorry, this is confirmed to be 7th of January 2021. Okay, I forgot to change this. Okay, architect is ADDP. Builder is Straits Construction. Okay, so this is where we are located. This stretch is where all the condos are, your Tapestry, Alps, Santorini, etc. Okay, Park Central Residences is along the same stretch. Okay, so we know that this stretch is already transacting about 1,003 for Tapestry already on average. Okay, one of the highlights that is that, right across us, okay, this is the Paya Lebar Air Base that is going to be redeveloped into a new town. Okay, we have shared some stuff in the hyper chat, which probably I can pull out and share later. So they're already conceptualizing it already. They have already asked people to conceptualize. Some architectural firms have sent in what they visualize this town to be. So this will probably be the happening future new town. This is just diagonally across us. Okay, then of course we are quite striking distance to the MRT. You will tell me you won't walk, that's for sure, but it's close enough. Okay, it's close enough. And there's a NTUC, etc. near us. Okay, there's also a UWC right across the road from us. Okay, so touch on a bit about Tampines for those who are not familiar. We see that for ECs, the profiling, most of the buyers, they come from the immediate location. So they may know the location better than you. So maybe I just briefly touch and go. So Tampines is Singapore's first regional center. Okay, there's plans to further develop it to keep up. So I'm the first one, but I think the government has realized that it's the original regional center. So they are actively trying to add on to it. Okay, so they can keep up, with Jurong, Woodlands, and Seletar in the future. Okay, so what is in the regional center now is we have major banks, back offices, okay, to complement the nearby Changi Business Park. Okay, you have UOB, you have OCBC. Okay, they are all in Tampines Regional Center now. Okay, we also have a large variety of businesses and MNCs, okay, and there's a lot of office buildings. So if you stay in Tampines, like, you know, the whole of the MRT there's a lot of office buildings, okay, on either side. Okay, some is along the road, on the Century Square Tampines Mall side. The other one is near to where our show flat is. So there's a lot of commercial buildings within Tampines itself. It's a very booming regional center. Okay, so there's more plans to add on more commercial space for office and retail in the east, more industrial land as well. Okay, so Tampines from kampong to award-winning town. So if you ask anybody who stay in Tampines, including me, Tampines is a really, really nice place to stay lah. Everything that you need is in Tampines. It's a really, really nice environment. Yeah. Okay, shopping centers, you have a lot. You have Tampines Mall, Tampines One, Century Square. So like I say, if you want to go shopping, okay, you have 3 shopping centers in the central alone. Okay, if you are tired of all these shopping center, or you're looking for other things, you know, IKEA, Courts, Giant is all a short drive up Tampines Avenue 10 also. Okay, and the developer is Hoi Hub and Sunway. So this is another premier EC by Hoi Hub and Sunway. Hoi Hub and Sunway have a very, very strong record in ECs. Okay, I think the last few ECs that they have done all sold very well. Okay, Parc Central is the latest upcoming. Before that is Parc Canberra. I think about 400 over units sold already. River Cove fully sold. 100 Palm is the one that sold in one day. Before that, we did Treasure at Tampines for them. Okay, so they are the developer with a very excellent and strong track record of EC. I think they have a bit of catch what buyers want in ECs already. So you can usually see from the layouts when the buyers come and they really appreciate the layouts. And they are also a very strong developer. So some buyers may not have heard of Hoi Hub, etc. But if you go to the BCA website and you look for the top 10 developers and the top 10 contractors, it's Hoi Hub and Straits Construction. They are respectively number 3. Okay, so this is our developer and our main con, Hoi Hub and Straits Construction. Top 3 developers in Singapore, top 3 contractors in Singapore. Okay, and the picture you see from the right are 100 Palm Residences. This is the EC that sold out in 7 hours. Okay, so Hoi Hub have very strong confidence in their work. So I remember when we were launching Parc Canberra, or a lot of Parc. We were launching Parc Canberra. Okay, it's about the time where 100 Palm is going to TOP. So I did mention to the developer, I say that if you are going to launch an EC and we are going to TOP a EC at the same time, maybe you want to do one before the other. Okay, because EC buyers are very particular. Okay, and if you just need one person to go and raise hell in social media, and then you'll affect the launch. Okay, but I think Hoi Hub were very, very confident in the quality of their workmanship and the development. They went ahead and TOP 100 Palms anyway. Okay, so up to now, I don't think we heard any complaints. Okay, Parc Canberra, we launched without any hiccup. Okay, so this is the only perspective that we have of Parc Central Residences. Now we do know that, you know, a big part of the concept is having a big open space of facilities and a very, very big pool in the middle. This is something that the developer has rolled out. Okay, so there's a football field size landscape. Okay, and all the facilities will roughly be in the middle. Okay, this is another video that talks about the location. So you can find both videos in our ERA portal. We can share them again in the ERA, in the Parc Central hyperchats as well after this. Okay, so this is to highlight the nearby amenities. So okay lah, I show you this video better than I talk so long. Okay, so there's a lot of renowned schools, etc. A lot of shopping, parks, businesses, etc. all around Parc Central Residences. Okay, so it's the most anticipated EC launch of 2021. Really die want to buy, okay, because they see the value in ECs, but they cannot. Okay, so if your buyers are eligible, okay, please encourage them to at least give it a thought. Okay, nobody say you sure must buy. Okay, but at least give it some consideration, because this is something that I think all prospective property owners should consider. This is a product that really is there's really very, very few flaws to it lah. Okay, so something that, you know, even your friends, relatives, prospect children, you know, looking for a house, you know, is something that they should really consider. And over the years, because of all the changes in the policy, the privilege is a very big group now. Okay, when we first started doing EC, it's 8,000 the income. Now it's 16,000. So when we first started doing EC, we see 2 aircrew walk in, we know sure gone already, because the aircrew sure make more than 4,000 on average. Okay, now we see two aircrew walk in, we can close two eye, you can buy. Okay, when we were first doing EC, we see one pilot walk in, we know cannot buy already. Now we see a pilot walk in, we ask the pilot, is your partner working? Because one pilot usually still can. Okay, so the number of eligible people have really increased by a lot. A lot of people are eligible. Okay, so it's really, really up to you to go and reach out and find the eligible person. Okay, so I move on to the next part. Okay, I think I overrun a bit, I'm sorry. So the next part is on the consolidation of sales and ownership. Okay, so this, before that was the storyline. So this is the bread and butter to how to sell ECs. Okay, because end of the day, because EC is so good, okay, we just mentioned only the privilege can apply. So how do we define who is the privilege? Okay, there's still some condition of sales and ownership to ECs, but we hope that you take it as a logical flow. It's not a memory work. Okay, you just have to remember that there's certain things that an EC owner has to fulfill, and then you just go from there. Okay, so first things first, the general criteria for eligibility. Okay, the main applicant must be a Singapore citizen, and the main applicant all applicants must be above 21 years old at the time of application. Okay, so second one is common for all properties. All owners have to be 21 years old and above. But the first one is exclusive to EC. The first owner, the main applicant, must be a Singapore citizen. Okay, the third one is that they must form a proper family nucleus, and the family nucleus must have at least 2 SC or 1 SC and 1 SPR. Okay, wow, suddenly very complicated. I make it simple for you. Okay, so you must have at least 1 SC as the main applicant. Okay, the SC must be able to form a family nucleus with another SC or another SPR at least. Okay, and all must be at least 21 years old. Okay, as applicants. All applicants must be at least 21 years old. Okay, gross monthly household income maximum of 16K. Okay, any applicant or occupier listed must not own or dispose any private property in the last 30 months. So doesn't matter whether you are currently owning or you already sold, as long as it's within 30 months, okay, you are unfortunately ineligible for ECs. Okay, so 30-month time bar from the date that you dispose your private property. Okay, applicant also cannot be third timer. So cannot be I buy a BTO, then I buy another BTO, then I come to EC again. Okay, you cannot be a third timer. Okay, maximum 2 times only. Okay, so a new recent, it's not really very recent anymore, but this is the latest regulation. The monthly combined income household for EC is now 16,000. Okay, for those who are just coming back to ECs after a while, you may still think it's 12 or 14,000. No, it's 16,000 now. Okay, so eligibility checklist. Okay, number 1, you must have a family nucleus. Okay, at least 1 SC and 1 SPR. Okay, so the family nucleus cannot be 1 person, correct? So there must be at least 1 SC and 1 SPR. Okay, the main applicant must be at least 21 years old. Okay, you must have a gross combined income of everybody in the application, okay, of at least 16,000 or below. Okay, nobody in the application must have owned a private property in the last 30 months. Okay, everybody in the application must be at least first or second timer. And if you are a HDB owner, you must have fulfilled your MOP. Okay, so this is the basic eligibility checklist. Okay, once you have cleared this one, then that is already 70-80% of the battle won already. Okay, so what is a family nucleus? Okay, the family nucleus is actually the foundation of application. So there's generally 4 types. Okay, public, fiancé, joint single, and orphan. Okay, public is the typical, the traditional family. Okay, applicant and spouse and children. Okay, any applicant or occupier that's married must also include the spouse. Okay, cannot be I buy then I don't put my wife's name. Okay, you have to put both buyers inside it. A married thing is considered one in terms of buying an EC. You cannot put one without the other. Okay, so that's the first. Okay, the other way is an applicant that's single and both his parents. Okay, in this case, the family nucleus is actually his parents, no? But because he's 21, so he can still be the main applicant, but he needs his parents to come in to form the family nucleus. You get what I mean? So I cannot buy as a single, but if I can bring in my parents will form the family nucleus for me, but I can still be the owner, okay, as long as above 21. Okay, the third one is an applicant that's a widow or divorced, as long as the children are under the legal custody with care and control. Okay, so they form a family nucleus as well. In this case, again, the main applicant can only be Singapore citizen, SC, okay, because the children are below 21 and cannot be put as applicant, so they must be put as occupier. So in a way, this is very similar to HDB if you are doing HDB. Okay, fiancé scheme is the next scheme. So it's for people who intend to get married but are not married yet at the moment. Okay, I got coffee. Okay, so the applicant and the fiancé must be unmarried, widowed, or divorced with final judgment. Okay, so I cannot be married and I want to buy with my future fiancé because I'm intending to get divorced. Okay, it doesn't work that way. Okay, so you must have a final judgment granted if you're buying under fiancé. Okay, they must produce their birth marriage cert within 3 months of taking possession of EC if you didn't take grant, or before taking possession of the EC if you took grant. Okay, this one, bear in mind if you're buying an existing EC, this is something that you probably have to be a bit more careful. Okay, because if the EC MOP, TOP early, if you don't have your marriage cert and you took a grant, you can't take the keys. Okay, but if you're buying Park Central, okay, no problem. Should be quite far off. You should be able to plan accordingly. Okay, the next one is joint single scheme. I have not encountered personally before yet. Okay, although there's always people that ask can or not. Okay, so joint single schemes can be done. Okay, both applicants must be Singapore citizens. Okay, you cannot take grant even if it's first timer. Okay, you have to be at least 35 if you are single or divorced. You have to be at least 21 years old if you are orphan or widowed. Okay, so single or divorced 35, orphan or widowed 21. Okay, joint single scheme, 2 singles can also buy together. Okay, but both must be Singapore citizens. Okay, last one is orphan scheme. Again, I have not come across, but this is also possible. So single orphan and all unmarried siblings must be in the same application. So doesn't mean that touch wood, this fella is orphan, become a bulk purchase, all the family member, all the brother, sister, everybody buy 1 unit. Cannot, okay? All must come together and buy 1 unit. Okay, so all unmarried siblings, okay, must be in the same application if it's under the orphan scheme. This is the most important thing that you have to take note. The second most important thing is at least one of the parents must be Singapore citizen. Cannot be orphan from USA then come here and want to buy EC. At least one of the parents must be a Singapore citizen. Okay, so case study 1. Okay, let's just do a quick case study because I know it's very draggy and I've gone on for very long. Okay, so it's a married couple. Okay, the husband is a foreigner about to apply for PR but haven't get PR. The wife is a Singaporean. So can buy EC? Maybe I can see in the chat. Nobody entertain me. Can entertain me or not? Can this buy EC? Okay, I see some answers. Okay, so a lot of people say no, say yes. Okay, technically, literally, is no. Okay, but this is something about ECs. Okay, always probe further. Okay, so correct based on these simple facts is no, but you can always ask further. So first and foremost, husband is a foreigner, right? It's a married couple. Wife is Singaporean. So the first question that you should ask, because they are married, the first logical question is what? Do you have children, right? Correct. I see some people ask already. Okay, do you have children? If you have children, are your children Singaporean? Okay, so if it's a husband and wife, the husband is Ang Mo, but the wife is Singaporean and they have children. Okay, and the children is Singaporean. So can they buy? Yes, in this situation they can buy already because they fulfill the at least 1 SC or 1 SPR. Even if the child, okay, so even if the child is very small, okay, the child can be put in as a essential occupier to fulfill the family nucleus. Okay, so you follow me so far. Remember the condition, at least 1 SC and 1 SPR, okay, in a family nucleus. So you have a family nucleus. The problem here is that the husband now is a foreigner and not even a PR. But if they have children, the children can come in and become an essential occupier to so-called fulfill the at least 1 SC, 1 SPR condition. Okay, then if they got no children, still got hope, no? You still can ask one more question. Okay, are the wife parents Singaporeans? If the wife parents are also Singaporeans, are the wife parents currently staying with you, or are you currently staying with your parents? If the parents don't mind, if they don't mind to buy and all stay together, then you can use the parents as a family nucleus. Okay, so sometimes, if you see a person, they maybe contact you, submit form, then you see the name, some Ang Mo name, David Beckham, then you very sian, walao, this one waste my click money. You never know, no? Sometimes Ang Mo can even be Singaporean. Okay, but on the other hand, if they have a local wife, if they have a local child, they are still eligible. Okay, so this is something to take note. Okay, I think this is particularly important because we're across UWC. I got a lot of people keep telling me that a lot of Ang Mo click the link, waste their money. Okay, but sometimes even though they are already PR here and they marry a Singaporean, they still send their children to international school. Okay, I got a few friends who do that. Okay, so maybe they can buy, doesn't mean they call you, they sound Ang Mo, the name is Ang Mo, means cannot buy. Okay, can probe further. Okay, case study number 2. Okay, divorce with care and control of all the children. Okay, you have the interim but not the final judgment. Okay, she wants to buy with all her children. Okay, is it eligible or not? Okay, this one I think never mind. I just go straight to the answer. Okay, this is more for agents who have been doing EC for very long, because last time we always say no final judgment cannot buy. Okay, but there is a new regulation. Okay, from March onwards. Okay, if you are divorced, okay, you don't have to wait until you have obtained the final judgment. Okay, you can just buy even with interim judgment. Okay, but please note that this flexibility is not applicable to fiancé. Meaning, if I'm divorced and I'm buying with my children, I don't need to wait for final judgment. Interim judgment, okay. As long as I have the care and control and custody. But if I'm divorced and I want to buy with my new partner, cannot. Okay, must have final judgment. Okay, so it's a bit confusing if you are experiencing it for the first time. As I mentioned, the DDs, ICs, marketing is always available. Any questions, you can always check with us. Just collect first, or you can just drop us a note. We will try to see how we can help you. Okay, next thing is the gross income. Okay, so it's to derive the income earned, whether the income is above or below 16,000. Okay, the onus of proof is always on the buyer to produce. Okay, we always have problem with buyers saying that you ask HDB come and check me lah. You know, you come on, they check me. It doesn't work that way. Okay, if the onus of proof is on you because you are the one that want to apply. Okay, it's not for HDB to check you. Okay, so every time they request for more things, it's your obligation to provide to them. Okay, so this one I think you have to be very clear with your buyers. Okay, so if the buyer is on a fixed salary, is derived by the gross income for the last 3 months. Okay, divide by the number of months work. Okay, to make it simple, I just have a table. So if it's a typical case, 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. So if 5,000 divided by 3, 15,000 divided by 3 is 5,000. Okay, but he only worked for 2 months, 5,000, 5,000. Then you can only divide by 2. You cannot divide by 3. Okay, doesn't mean he never worked for 1 month, then the income becomes 33% less. Okay, it's based on the number of months worked in the last 3 months. Okay, so same for this fella, 15,000. Doesn't mean you divide by 3 and become 5,000 a month. It's 15,000. His income is 15,000. Okay, and this fella, 15,000 is also 15,000 divided by 1. Okay, so for this case, it's harder than this case. Because for this case, if he wait 1 more month, he become unemployed. Correct or not? Assuming that he don't have a new job in April. For this one, he become employed. Okay, so all these are minor things you got to take note of. Okay, so even if I'm like this fella, I was unemployed before that, okay, it doesn't matter. I still have to take into consideration, I'm unemployed now, for example, I still have to take into consideration the period that I was employed if it falls into the 3 months prior to application. Okay. So for fixed salary earners, the question is what to include and what to not include. Okay, anything that is received on a monthly basis, you got to include. So including all the MVCs, incentive allowances, etc. Okay, don't have to include very clear cut is overtime pay, reimbursements, and one-off payments and bonuses. Okay, so again, the onus of proof will be on the buyer to prove that this amount is a bonus or a one-off payment. Okay, so these are the things that, HDB probably will seek clarity if because of all this you burst the income, or because of all this you cannot qualify for CPF housing grant. Okay, the onus of proof is on the buyer to provide and not for whoever to go and check. Okay, but there will be some buyers that say, hey, MVC incentive is not regular. Only if I hit certain thing then I get. Then this fella now will be considered a variable salary earner, and you give the last 6 months. Okay, so if all the MVCs, all these things above, the buyer say it's not regular, once in a blue moon, once in 2 months, once in 3 months, then this filer will become a variable salary earner because every month his salary is different. Okay, then it becomes 6 months of income statements. Okay, so again, onus of proof is on the buyer. Okay, so case study 3, again, I'm running out of time, so I just go straight. Okay, so husband, wife, fixed income 9,008, 6,001. Husband changed job in March, increased to 1,050. Are they eligible? So if I take 1,050 and plus 6,100, confirm burst, correct? But if we look at it in terms of the 3 months, okay, 9898 1050, you divide by 3 is 9833. 61 is consistent. Actually, they are barely okay, but they wait 1 more month, cannot already. Okay, so this is just an example of how the 3 months can help you. Of course, sometimes the 3 months can sabo you. It cuts both ways. Okay, but it's just a simple illustration on how to calculate the gross income. Okay, so part 2, assume the husband did not work in February between jobs. Now is 19850, but it's divided by 2 because February he never worked, 0. Now they burst slightly, Okay, then the next question is, what if February he worked half a month? then good for you. As long as that month he got work, okay, he got income, then you can divide by 3. Okay, so all these things are very technical, but this is a very small percentage of cases. Most people you encounter will be consistently working in the last 3 months. Okay, so this is just an example for you to probe a bit deeper. Okay, for variable income earner, okay, the gross monthly income is derived from the last 6 months. Okay, so based on everything you earn in the last 6 months, okay, if you do not have payslip in your line of work like us, we do not have payslip. Okay, we must ask the employer to provide a letter. Okay, so for us agents, for example, it's not good enough to churn your transaction from the last 6 months. Okay, you also need the company to endorse. So the company must write a letter that ERA agent Cha Kong, for example, in the last 6 months, he has clocked a gross commission. He has received a gross commission of so and so amount. Okay, so for us, agents, it's receivable. It's receivable. Okay, so if you have already clocked a treasure at Tampines, for example, 100,000, a diamond, you expect a diamond coming. Okay, but we don't receive the money straight away. You close a project, you only receive it 6 months later, right? It's not based on what you have clocked. It's based on what you have received in the last 6 months. Okay, so the company will write for you, receive in the last 6 months. Okay, so if you are keen to buy an EC, there is some things that as agents we can prepare beforehand. This one you go and figure out yourself. So if you're really keen to buy an EC, for us, maybe you can take note of something. It's based on receivable. It's based on receive, not receivable. Okay, so regulation alert. Okay, for those who have been doing EC last time, it's 12 months. Okay, now it's cut down to 6 months if you are a variable income earner. So again, for us, last time it's based on 12 months of commission received. Now it's only based on the last 6 months received. Okay, so case study 4, husband and wife, both commission, very complicated. Wife, husband receive commission every 3 months on top of 4,000. Wife only receive 1,000 on top of the 4,000 if hit target. So how to calculate? Actually, all these things is always just basic math. Okay, so you just have to plot clearly and then count clearly. Actually, they're way below, although it sounds very complicated. Okay, sometimes it's a bit of extra work because you need to count income. But put it this way, you count already, then at least you can use the figure and go and see how much loan they can get also. Okay, so deductibles, all these HDB already say that these are deductibles. Okay, so NS allowance, overtime pay, overseas allowance. Overseas allowance, you must prove that it's overseas allowance. Overtime pay, you also must prove it's overtime pay. Bonuses, director fees, rental income, interest, alimony. Okay, director fees, you also have to be very careful. Okay, because a lot of people will tell you that whatever income they make is the director fees, but in the NOA, it must be stated clearly it's director fees. If not, it's a lengthy process to prove that this amount is director fees. And sometimes HDB may even get them to go and get an accountant to go and audit to show them that this amount is really director fees, audit the company. Okay, so this one, you just have to be careful when people claim that whatever they make is director fees. Okay, so in doubt, do check with the marketing ICs or DDs. Or if you want to be very safe, everything you just add inside. Everything add inside never burst is very safe already. Okay, but if there's slight burst, all this, then you just let us know, or you can just use this as a bit of a guideline on what to not include. Okay, next important thing is deriving status, whether it's a first or second timer. This is very important because during the first month of the public launch date, only 30% can be sold to second timers. So if I have 1,000 units, I can only sell 300 units to second timers. But this thing will be released from the second month onwards. So the first month of launch, only 30% of the total units can be sold to second timers. More importantly, only first timers can take grant. Okay, so who are second timers? Second timers are people who have taken any form of housing subsidy in the past. So you need to carefully interview your client whether they're the first or second timer. Okay, so your client is a second timer if they have bought a flat directly from HDB, or they have sold a flat bought direct from HDB. Okay, it's not the same. Okay, so if my parents buy a flat direct from HDB, okay, for some reason after that they include my name. Okay, after that we sell the flat and I make profit. Okay, I took the proceeds. Okay, I'm no longer a first timer. So as long as I benefited, I'm no longer a first timer. Okay, if you have bought a resale but you took grant, you are a second timer. Okay, if you have transferred at market value a flat bought direct from HDB or HDB flat bought with the grant. So again, I use the example. My mom bought a resale flat with a grant, then she included my name. So when we sell, both of us receive the proceeds from the sale. I'm no longer a first timer, I'm a second timer. Okay, or if you have enjoyed any other form of housing subsidy, such as CERS or privatization of HUDC. Okay, so if I HUDC, I also not a first timer, and HUDC is considered private. So if you are a buyer, if you own a Neptune Corp, for example, okay, you cannot buy and say, I will sell Neptune Corp within 6 months of TOP. Cannot. Okay, privatized HUDC is considered private. Or if you have sold Neptune Corp, HUDC, I just say, if you have sold a HUDC, you also must wait 30 months. HUDC is considered private in the eyes of EC application. Okay, so this one you must take note. So, okay, by now should be okay, right? So last time when all the en bloc craze was going on, all the Florence, all the Affinity, all the en bloc owners, they came to EC, but unfortunately it's still considered private. Okay, so they still have to wait 30 months. Okay, but now I don't know pass already or not, but we can track back and check. Okay, these people got money. Maybe no need income, but got money. Okay, so only first timers are eligible for grant. Okay, only the CPF housing grant for family is applicable to EC. So don't tell your buyer got additional housing grant, the proximity grant, all these grants don't have. Okay, we only got CPF housing grant for family. Okay, so up to 20K for SC, up to 30K for SCSC, SCSPR, up to 30K for SCSC. Okay, there's half housing grant if one of the SC have already gotten grant before. This is very similar to HDB, I believe. Okay, the CPF housing grant will only be credited to SC. Okay, so if I'm SC and my wife is SPR, I'm second timer, she first timer, there's no grant. Okay, SPR cannot take grant on her own. Okay, the grant can only be credited to the SC. Okay, so please take note. If the first timer is the SPR and the second timer is the SC, the SPR got no grant. Okay. Okay, the next thing is the grant must be fully returned with interest if the SMP is not exercised or if the applicants lose eligibility. Okay, doesn't mean that for some reason you cannot forfeit, you can use the grant and cannot forfeit, cannot. You have to return the grant if you didn't proceed to buy. Okay, so there's different tiers of grant. This one is out there everywhere. But if you are not more than 10K, it's up to 30K. If you are between 11 to 12K, it's 10K. If you earn more than 12K, there's no grant, but now you can buy EC. Last time you cannot buy EC. Okay, so you have to explain this way. Last but not least, okay, remember we are not the final assessing body for calculation of income. Okay, we can apply the principle to make a rough calculation, so you have to disclaim. Don't commit to buyer what kind of grant they can get, because we have gotten into trouble before. Okay, we have had agents go and commit that, oh, can get 30K. Sometimes is the buyer hide things from you. Sometimes is you own self calculate wrong. Okay, so we can do a rough calculation, but we also must disclaim that final calculation is and how much grant you get will be deemed from the authorities. Of course, no matter how you calculate, it's less than 7,000, then it's very safe. But if you have a $9,999 calculation, I think you better disclaim accordingly. Okay, or you have you have that kind of amount, you better disclaim accordingly. Okay, so remember we are not the final assessing body. 不是我们说了就算, okay? So this one you have to be careful. Okay, resale levy. Second timers have to pay a resale levy. This one used to be an issue. I think by now everybody used to it, because most of the time, whoever have to pay the resale levy, probably have to pay it only later. Okay, but just to highlight. Okay, so second timers who apply for EC from now onwards, you have to pay a resale levy. So this is based on your flat type and based on the date that you sold your flat. Okay, so if you sold your flat before the 3rd of March, okay, your levy rates is a percentage. Okay, and this is interest chargeable. Okay, my understanding is most buyers, they don't pay the interest, they don't pay the levy first. Okay, so if you have a buyer who bought before 3rd March, sold the flat before 3rd March, sold the subsidized flat before 3rd March, to be honest, it's quite unlikely that they will pay. Okay, because most of the time it will be the levy rate plus interest. Okay, but if you have sold your flat after 3rd March of 2006, this is a fixed amount from 15K to 50K and there's no interest. Okay, so this amount is fixed. Okay, and if you have still not sold your flat, meaning that I still holding on to my flat, this amount will just be deducted from the sales proceed when you eventually sell. Okay, so you don't have to pay this amount in cash. Okay, so for most of your second timers, they should still be holding on to HDB flat. Just tell them that 45,000, I try to sell 45,000 higher for you. Try to sell at least 30,000 higher for you. So we try to absorb the resale levy by a higher purchase price kind of thing. Okay, so nowadays it's no longer as big as a problem as it used to be. Okay, but if you have a buyer before 3rd March, then you need to be careful. Okay, exactly how much they have to pay. Okay, you probably have to ask them to go and check with HDB on their own, because this one, most of the time we can't get an accurate figure. Okay, so MOP, this one I think everyone is very familiar by now. This is the words that the whole market don't like now. So MOP, people that buy EC, if you have a HDB, you must have fulfilled the MOP like any other property out there. Okay, you have to take note that if you are the owner of any non-subsidized flat, okay, last time if you are owner of any non-subsidized flat, you can still buy as long as your MOP is before the TOP of the EC. Okay, I repeat, in the past, if you bought a HDB without grant, as long as your MOP is before the TOP of the EC, now it's okay. Okay, but from 12th of February 2019 onwards, okay, if you have bought, even if you didn't take a grant, okay, you bought a resale without grant, you still have to apply, you still have to occupy for 5 years before you can apply for EC. Okay, this one, I think we may have to go and calculate the date for Parc Central. Okay, but I think it's likely that for Parc Central, we will get hit by this. Okay, this one, I think I haven't done a calculation with Rodney and with the DD's ICs. Okay, maybe we will make a further calculation whether we will be hit by this. Rodney, are you there? Do you have offhand, do you think we'll be hit by this?
Possible leh. If the MOP is like 2024, then we may have a chance to escape this.
Correct. Because we do not know where is our TOP date now. Okay, so this one we will share with you again. Okay, but for now, I think there's a chance that we may be hit by this. But for you to know, don't need to think too much on this first. We will update you again. Okay. Okay, so nowadays it's all 5 years already. No way we will have a 5 years or 3 years or 2.5 years. So if by now everybody should fall under the 5-year MOP already. Okay, next thing is cancellation of BTO. So there is a so-called 1 year debarment period if you have bought a BTO, if you have booked a BTO and you have cancelled. Okay, book a BTO is I go and book a unit already. If you have applied and you didn't choose a unit, it's okay. So there's always this confusion. You can apply 100 BTO, it's okay. As long as you never book, then you will never be debarred. But if you book a unit, but for some reason you didn't proceed, then there's a 1 year debarment period. Okay, this debarment period, I think it's better to resolve before you come to the EC. Okay, if you come to Parc Central with a debarment period active, okay, I don't think we can help you. Okay, if you are under a debarment period, then this one you will have to should ask your buyer. But ask your buyer, don't say you teach them one. Okay, just tell your buyer to try to resolve it on their own with HDB. Okay, but don't mention they are buying an EC. Okay, just go and resolve to get their debarment cleared. Okay, so finally, we move on to the last part, which is the basic document checklist. Okay, again, I hope the condition of sales and ownership, you aga know lah. So once you have that clear, what documents you need no longer become a memory work. It becomes a logical flow. Okay, so why is it? So I just show you. Okay, so now you know you need to ascertain the identity of the buyer, whether SC or SPR, or whether they are not even Singaporeans in the first place. So first thing you need is proof of identity. So how to prove your identity? For Singaporeans is IC. For non-citizen is passport. If you are in the SAF, you probably have 11B. But 11B, you will need to ask them to go back and ask for a copy of the identity card. Okay, this one the company will be able to provide. Okay, if you're SPR who just obtained citizenship, usually there's a PIN, IC, collection slip, and passport. Okay, so as long as the collection slip is as good as you're Singaporean. So a lot of people will tell you that they are applying for Singaporean, whether they have or don't have is very clear one. Either you have a PIN IC or you have the IC collection slip. Okay, so the IC collection slip should look something like this. Okay, it's just a piece of paper. Okay, tell you when to go and collect the IC. Okay, this will serve as the temporary IC. Okay, they must have this to be considered Singaporean if they don't have PIN IC. If they don't have this, means they haven't gotten a Singaporean yet. Okay, this is an example of the certified true copy of the NRIC. This one is the CAM will provide one if they are in the SAF. Okay, the CAM will provide for them because guys who are in NS don't have your IC. Okay, summary of proof of relationship again is a logical flow. So if you are married, is marriage cert. If you are divorced, it's a absolute final judgment or interim judgment. If you are widowed, you have a death cert. Of course, you need to still have a marriage cert to show that you were married to the person that has passed away. Okay, so same thing for orphans. All this is very uncommon, but think of it as a logical flow. Okay, I think I need to go a bit faster. Okay, some example of final judgment. So final judgment should put here final judgment, or you should say interim judgment on the front page. Okay, care and control is usually in the interim judgment. So they will say who have joint custody or sole custody, but who has the care and control. Okay, so the person applying must have the care and control. if they are using the kids lah. Okay, income statement. Okay, so last 3 months pay slip or last 6 months pay slip, depending on fixed or variable. Okay, if it's self-employed, you need to get the NOA. Okay, you need to have an ACRA. Okay, the ACRA need to have the person as one of the owners of the company. You still need to do a SD. Okay, nowadays SD don't need to go to the HDB branch office to do already. You just have to do using the form that's provided. Okay, unemployed, again, you have to do SD. Okay, so this is an example of payslip, a bit outdated. Nowadays, very few companies give payslip already. So it's all churned digitally, but you need to have the letterhead, need to have the name of the employee, need to include the allowances. If you are doing calculation, you have to take gross salary, not after CPF. Okay, this is an example of a letter. Okay, this is not a good letter. A better letter is something like this. You will state the gross salary for the period, okay, be it 12 months, 3 months, or 6 months. Okay, remember, if you have a letter, the word gross must be there. Cannot be net, cannot be net or what, or receivable, or whatever. The word gross means total. Okay, you must have the word gross salary. If there's no word gross, the letter is as good as no use. Okay, you must have the word gross. Okay, monthly gross salary. You see, gross salary, the word gross must be there. Okay, ACRA must be the latest ACRA. Business must not have expired. You have to check here. Okay, the applicant must be one of the shareholders. Okay, NOA. Okay, now by the time we buy should be 2021 NOA or 2020 at least. Sorry, this is outdated. Okay, if you are self-employed, you should put trade. You shouldn't put employment. Okay, if the person has self-employed but put employment, then you may need to ask further how come. Okay, and then you must take the gross. Okay, cannot take after all the deduction. ASD nowadays we can do. This is no longer the same one. Okay, the one we'll show you later, next time. Okay, final thing. Okay, after everything we have gone through, let's go for a most complicated case that we can think of. Okay, so applicant 1 is a single, she's female, she has a fixed monthly pay. Applicant 2 is SPR, is a divorced male. He has variable monthly pay, sales base. He has his own company also. And somewhere earlier on, he bought a BTO with his wife. So they want to get married and buy under fiancé scheme. So what are the checks and what are the documents needed? Okay, maybe I give you 1 minute to think about about this extreme case. Yeah, yeah, I think nobody want to entertain me as well. So sounds very complicated, but actually, let's break it down. Okay, so first, applicant 1, this is the easier one, single, female, fixed monthly pay. So to prove the identity, we need a copy of the NRIC. To prove the pay, we just need 3-month pay slip, and we check that the pay is the same across 3 months. So it's a fixed monthly pay, correct? So the applicant 1 settle. Applicant 2 is the one that is very cheap. But again, we break it down bit by bit. So SPR, what do we need? Copy of NRIC, which should be blue color. Divorced male, we need the final judgment for the previous divorce. Why is it a final judgment and not interim? Because he's buying fiancé with a new buyer, correct? So a final judgment. Variable monthly pay. So we settle the variable pay first. So we need 6 months of pay slip for the variable monthly pay. He got the own company. So we settle the ACRA, NOA, and SD for self-employment. So we settle all this already. So now is the last part. He said, hey, last time I got buy a BTO with my ex-wife. So we ask further. Okay? Things to check. Okay? First of all, you must make sure, so many things. Make sure the income is below 16K. Second thing is good to check always that whether they have any private property owned or sold. Okay? This should be a standard question you ask. Okay? It's not a question that people will naturally tell you. So this is something that you have to ask. Do you currently own or have you sold any private property in the last 30 months? Okay. Third question you should ask them is, did they apply for any new BTO? So if they never apply clean, if they apply, then you ask them, do you book? So if they book, they may be under debarment. And the last thing that you have to ask is what happened to applicant 2's BTO flat upon the divorce. So remember, applicant 2 got BTO flat. So what happened to the BTO flat? Did the applicant 2 solely take over the BTO flat? So if he solely take over the BTO flat, the MOP, is it still under the MOP? Or did he pass on the BTO flat to the wife? Or did they sell it? So what did they do to it? If 100% I give to the ex-wife, okay, I'm still a clean first-timer now because I gave 100%. Okay, if the wife give me 100%, then now I'm the one that's staying inside. My MOP renew, no? So now is my MOP over. If we split the flat and we sell, what or we already say it's BTO ma. So now I am a second timer. So is it our first BTO or second BTO with the ex-wife? So, you know, some things you need to be clear, okay? But usually don't need to go so extreme. Like I said, this is an extreme example, but this is to show you, you know, the thought process and the things that you need to ask, okay? But this is also to show you that even a very extremely complicated case, if you break it down to part by part, actually it's quite simple, okay? You just need to know to break it down, what are the simple things, and the difficult thing, just spend 1 second to think, 1 minute to think, what are the questions that you need to ask based on the client storyline. Okay, so finally, okay, special cases include you know, cabin crew, real estate, insurance agent, and odd jobs. Okay, cabin crew no longer is a problem. I think nowadays they also standardize the payslip. In the past, they have one payslip for every flight they fly. Recently, I don't think they fly much lah. But besides the point, you know, their payslip usually tend to be not very regular, but usually it won't exceed one nowadays, so don't need to worry too much. Okay, for us, real estate insurance agent, this is something, if you have such client, you have to be a bit mindful, because for us, like I say, it's based on received commission. We also cannot certify our own commission. So for example, I cannot, like I say, go to my ERA portal and I churn out all my commission received and I just give it to HDB, okay? You can exclude things, okay? So they also always, although we are so-called in a way self-employed, we also need the company to endorse, need to write a letter to state the gross received commission in the last 6 months. But at the same time, we still need to give NOA as well. Okay, so we are a bit more complicated, no choice lah. We are both so-called self-employed, but there's a company that so-called govern us and able to churn out this official thing for us. Okay, it's the same for insurance agent. Okay, a lot of insurance agents actually do have pay slips. Every month they got something that how much they earn. Okay, insurance agent, the other very dangerous thing is that everything in the pay slip you see is bonus. Bonus, bonus, bonus. 1 year they don't know how many bonus. Okay, but everything for them, the bonus is not considered bonus, okay, because these are regular payments, okay. Some are able to churn out the full 6 months for you. Some need to go back to company to get for us, depends on what agency. But these are the different, if you encounter one, you can always come to us, we'll advise you. Odd job also very difficult. You need to certify for every period of time. So I work in job A, then for 2 weeks, then I unemployed for 2 weeks, then I work in job B, then unemployed for 1 month, I work in job C, unemployed for 3 months. You know, you need to certify every step of the way. But generally, odd job, unless the buyer need the parents to come in as essential occupier, usually you don't have lah. I mean, if you come across this, like I say, you know, just to highlight to you that these are potential difficult cases. If you come across, you can always come to us, and then we will try to help you.